Good morning, everybody. Syntax77 here. Actually, I guess saying good morning in a YouTube video, is that kind of weird? I guess I don't really know when you're going to watch this, but I'll say good morning to all of my hardcore viewers, the ones that watch these videos right away, and to somebody that finds this video a year or two from now, good day/night. Today I want to talk about a question from a viewer that leads to a discussion about snow shovels for backpacking and camping in the winter, of course. Snow shovel, right? Or maybe I should say snow removal devices in general. Snow removal is kind of the best word I could think of, because what he asked was, well, I'll tell you, and then you'll see why the word shovel doesn't necessarily apply. Of course, where's my phone? Why would I have that now? 1 second. You can tell I haven't had this yet, my morning coffee. Butter coffee, actually. Butter, coconut oil, blended up in your little NutriBullet. Gets me pepped up in the morning. And apparently I should have drank it before starting to film. But here's the message I got. His name is Steve from, I'm not sure, but I'm assuming somewhere where there's plenty of snow. Actually, I'm assuming New Hampshire based on what he says later in this video. He said, you mentioned in one of your videos that you wanted to get the Snow Claw, which is a type of device I was talking about. It's actually, I'll pop a picture of it up. It's actually basically, for lack of better description, kind of a piece of plastic with some areas that you can grip it, and you use it to remove snow from an area for camping. And you got to make sure to do this cool rowing motion apparently when you do it. That's me trying to mime. But the advantage of that is that it's very low weight. So back to the email though, where he was saying, I wanted to get the Snow Claw, but they didn't have it. So you got a camp shovel, or the camp shovel. Camp is actually the brand. And I'll show that to you in a minute. If you had to do it again, would you rather carry the extra weight for the shovel with a handle, or would you rather have the Snow Claw and shave 10 ounces? And, in parentheses, he writes, deal with having to get on hands and knees to shovel, not being able to pack down snow as easily. My fingers are crossed for a lot of snow this winter, so I can do 1 to 2 trips per month, a lot of them in the Whites, which leads me to believe he lives up there. I wish that I could do 1 to 2 trips per month in the Whites, but that would be a lot of driving for me. Sounds awesome. So I need some kind of shovel, he says. All right, that's about it. And then he says, love the videos. Your speech before the White Mountain Ascent winter climb video inspired me to do last year too, and I got addicted to winter climbing. Yeah, that trip was fun. That's one of my favorite videos where things didn't necessarily go terribly wrong. I had some ups and downs in that video that I won't spoil, but if you haven't seen it, the reason that I went up there was because of the example of a video with a lot more views, the video when Sub-Zero camping goes wrong and Mike had his little debacle. Well, that was definitely what we would call things not going anywhere near how we planned. So I actually went up by myself 2 or 3, maybe just 2 weeks later, and attempted to summit Mount Washington on a solo trip, just to kind of get redemption for myself. So I had something that season in the snow that went well. And I brought this with me, which is the shovel that he's talking about. This is the Camp brand. Confuses people when they ask what kind of shovel is that, and I say it's a Camp snow shovel, and they say, yeah, but what kind of shovel is that? The brand is Camp, and it collapses down like this compared to the Snow Claw he was talking about. And what he's referencing is, I think at this point, maybe it was my 2012 video, frigid camping in the Green Mountains, something like that. And I, old school style, left right after work. I would work at my desk job, and then I would go to the bathroom at the end of my shift. I would change into hiking clothes or street clothes, usually just the clothes I was going to hike in the next day, and I would leave, do a 9-hour drive north to the Whites, get there at 1 in the morning, leave right from work, and wake up in the morning and do a trip. And on that particular trip, there's an EMS not too far away from me, or from my work, I should say, and I hit that literally on the road to go to the Whites, and I was looking for that Snow Claw. And this is my fault for being so last minute, if you will, but they didn't have one in stock. It was a normal item for them, I guess, but they were just out. And the guy said, I do have something on sale right now, a shovel. And back then I still am, but I was really fresh and new into the Ultralight and was such a gram weenie. So even for winter, I wanted to have this Snow Claw, right? Because it was Steve mentioned, was it worth the extra 10 ounces? But actually, it was only 6 ounces, and this is 23. So there's actually a 17-ounce difference between the snow claw and this. But anyway, so that was the mentality I was in, right? I figured I could just get this little snow claw, put it in my pack, slip it in there nice and easy. So when the guy at the store said they don't have it, I needed something because I was literally driving up there right then. I said, I'll take a look at it. And when I saw this, I'll admit, I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh man, that's a legit big old metal shovel, some sort of composite aluminum. And I was like, oh, well, I'll take it. I need a shovel. I've never done I'd never done a winter camp before at all. And I definitely never done one alone. So this is back when I had a lot more trouble finding people to go with me on backpacking trips. Not so bad anymore. So anyway, I said I'll go for it, and I grabbed it, and I feel like it cost me only in the $20-ish range, and probably even when it's not on sale, I think this is around 30-ish or something like that. So to answer the question, and let me just show you this, I don't regret that they were out that day. I'm actually happy that they are. It has these little clips. You can see I went out to stage 1. I'm going to keep going. I know this is not all going to fit in frame. Pops out again. Whoops. Hit this. It goes out to about here. So let's see if you can see all that. Right, like that. And I'll try not to spill my morning coffee. But it comes up to about here on me. This is my real technical way of giving measurements. Right around there. So compared to the claw where you really have to get down on your knees and you're really just, it's almost like you're shoveling with your hands as far as the level of your body and the mechanics. It's just you have that claw to help you. In full disclosure, I never ended up getting the claw, so this isn't really a versus video. I can't tell you my opinion on actually using the snow claw, but I will say whether or not I'm disappointed in having this guy, and I will say no. Basically, even though this guy weighs 23 ounces, and it also comes with this bag that weighs, for a stuff sack, it's not a stuff sack, for a bag I should say, weighs a whopping 3¼ ounces, which is actually pretty heavy for a bag, but it's because it has these nice buckles and stuff on there. Sometimes I bring this, sometimes I don't. It is nice because it protects it. And the main reason that I bring this sometimes is in winter when you're bringing all kinds of stuff, like I often do, your pack is going to be crammed. This might end up going on the outside of your pack somewhere. A lot of times, if I'm lucky, I can slide it into my outer pouch. But if not, this allows me to connect this bag to my backpack. And now I can slip the shovel in and out of this, and it just creates an extra kind of storage option for it. So in that case, it's worth the 3 ounces for me to bring this. So that would be 26 ounces. But normally, without the bag, 23 ounces. And the reason I like it is because I just showed you that height difference. Yes, compared to like a full like garden shovel, spade, you have to stoop down a little bit, so that can add a little bit of fatigue. But compared to being on your hands and knees, just body mechanics wise, this is awesome for really just getting in there and shoveling. You can really put some power into it. And then, of course, it has an actual shovel head on it. So you can really pick up a large volume of snow and throw it around. And it also has kind of a coating on there. I'm not sure what. I'm sure it's written on their website. But it's an aluminum shovel. You can see on the handle here. You can't feel it, of course. But it's just a regular, kind of nice and smooth aluminum. But over here, it's almost got like a slippery feel to it because they put some sort of coating on there. I've scratched it up over the years. It's taken a while to do that. I'm not sure what I banged that on, but the front side is nice and clear, which is nice. So it's pretty resilient as long as you're actually just using it on snow. Maybe this is from hitting rocks occasionally. But anyway, that really makes it slip into the snow pretty nice, especially if you have a hard crust on top. Like say you're in an area where it gets some sunlight during the day and melts and refreezes, so you got like a crust of almost ice on top of that snow. Again, I don't have the snow claw, so I don't know how it works, but this thing powers through. It's got a real nice straight edge on it. It's not rounded like a garden spade. That allows you to really chop out some nice, if you do 4 hits, I can get a nice square kind of post hole in the ground that I can use to anchor my tent, or like Mike and I will go to town with this thing if we're in an area with like 4 to 6 feet of snowpack, like up in the Whites. You could build a whole like pit into the ground. You can cut like couches and seating areas into it, get yourself out of the wind. And I mean, we do trips where we're in the woods for say 3 days at a time or something like that. You got nothing to do but build fun creations and stuff. I wouldn't want to be using just a little piece of plastic bent over. And I don't mean to disparage that system. I think for like a minimalist, like say an ultralight approach to winter backpacking, that makes sense. It's all about pluses and minuses. Although you notice, if you've watched my winter ultralight backpacking video, where I tried to take an ultralight approach to winter backpacking, I didn't have any shovel at all. I'm kind of, after being forced to learn about this guy and learning to really like it, I've become kind of an all or nothing kind of guy when it comes to shovels. I'm either going to carry the full 23 ounces, this guy right here, and I'm going to feel like it's well worth it when I get there because I've got some real snow work to do, or I'm going on a trip where most likely solo. That's when I go to most minimalist because I'm spending less time at camp, less time talking and hanging out with people. If I'm on a solo winter trip, depending on the conditions, I'm either going to bring that or nothing at all, because I think it's either not going to be life or death snow, or I'm not going to be at camp like trying to build some nice creation, build a pit to put my fire in. Maybe I'm not even having a fire that night. I'm just setting up my hammock with the sock and cocooning and going to sleep at night. So in that case, I'm not even going to worry about the snow claw. Maybe I'll try it out someday, but it's not even a question of weight. It's just, am I really going to need to do snow removal at all? No, not in those types of trips. For me. Now, of course, if you're in a life or death situation, that's different. Or in that case, there's also this guy here, which is multi-purpose. You can use this Black Diamond Raven model ice axe as opposed to an ice tool. Ice axe is more of this, almost looks like you can use it as kind of a walking aid. It's got the sharp tip on there, compared to an ice tool, which is what the ice climbers actually use, which is smaller, about a half the length of this or 3/4 the length of this, and bent, and they actually go up like the ice walls. That's an ice tool. This is an ice axe, and if you were bringing this anyway, like for instance the Mount Washington Winter Ascent video, they actually tell you if you're going to attempt that to take one of these for sure. I think they say it's required, although legally I don't know. Whatever. They say you should have one to go up there. So I bought it for that, and this was like $100 or something like that, but it'll last me the rest of my life, especially with the type of stuff I'm doing. This was good on the way up because it gave me something to self-arrest with, which is a whole nother topic. But back at camp, I could indeed, with this kind of area here, do some digging, right? You're not going to move a lot of snow compared to this, but this is going to really kick butt for chopping into like really hard-packed or icy stuff. It's going to tear stuff up. And then you got this side too, which is really your like self-arrest side. But anyway, on that trip, I knew that I most likely wasn't going to be doing a lot of miles because I was to camp, at least because I was base camping. So I took this for the hike, but I still brought this because once again at camp and on that particular time, because I was doing kind of the base camping thing, and also I didn't know if conditions would be good enough to make a summit bid. I'll leave you in suspense as to whether or not it happened, although I may have already ruined that earlier. But I may or may not have had more time at camp than I bargained for, so I was going to try to make a home of it. And I did. I made a little, like, I think a little seating area out of some snow. And this guy came in super handy for that, so I like him a lot. For me, it's all or nothing. That's the way I like to roll. So to boil it all down in a short answer for Steve, who I actually already responded to separately, but I decided to do this video for everybody else out there, I would say my final answer is, yeah, I'm going with the heavier shovel. It's worth it. And as always, any viewers out there, I mean, let me know, is there another option kind of in between the Snowclaw and the collapsible telescoping camp shovel that I'm not thinking of, or maybe a different, better version of this that's lighter or longer or whatever? Let me know. But so far I like this one. Had about, wow, I think I've had this 4 or 5 years now. Still kicking, so I guess it's not too bad that it has a few scratches on it after all that time. Yep, so that about sums it up. And then Steve also said at the end of his email after I replied to him, got any trips coming up? What you got going on in the upcoming trip space, buddy? As of right now, nothing planned other than the fact that I want to do at least 2 trips this winter for sure. I love the winter trips, but I'm still working out what's going on. Trying to get Mike, aka Trail Killer, aka Trail Slipper, out on the trail with me for a winter hike. That'll probably just be a quick weekender, but I want to see what's going on. We alternate, Mike and I, with going down south for kind of chill winter and going up north for a little more hardcore. We went up north for the winter camping with a sled video last year, so this time we're probably going down south. So that'd be milder. In the meantime, I want to do a solo trip, so I might be going up north. maybe do something a little more severe solo in the winter to kind of keep my alternating going. Because last year I did a solo winter, but it was down south and it was cold, but like not a lot of deep snow. So yes, Steve, I don't know exactly where I'm going, and other viewers if you're wondering, but there's going to be some winter vids. So stay tuned for that. We'll get that going. Some winter camping videos. Speaking of trail slip, somebody actually posted the other day on the Linville Gorge video. I was a longtime viewer, said, I can't believe I missed this one somehow. And I thought that was funny because there's a lot of references to Mike, whose online YouTube name is Trail Killer. There's a lot of references to him as Trail Slipper. And I guess there's probably a lot of people out there that are confused by that or just don't get the joke. If you don't know what Trail Slipper means, check out the Linville Gorge video that Mike and I did, and it will all become explanatory. It's pretty interesting. Anyway, till next time, I'm Syntax77, and you have fun out there.